A low mist curled along the narrow country road as Maya's taxi crawled toward the Ironwood Cemetery entrance. The morning sky was an unbroken sheet of pewter, lending every silhouette a merciless clarity. Maya pressed her forehead against the cool glass, clutching the worn leather strap of her backpack. 10 years had passed since she fled this town, but every familiar landmark, rusted signposts, sagging porches, the ancient oak outside Riverside Church, seemed to lean in with silent accusation. Inside the cemetery gate, her taxi driver, an elderly man named Chaik, offered a soft nod. "You want me to wait?" he asked, voice gravelly with concern. Maya shook her head. "No, thank you." She paid him and stepped into the damp grass, the hollow echo of her shoes swallowed by the earth. She paused to breathe in the faint scent of damp lilies and frostbitten soil, reminding her that loss had a smell, like cold stone and discarded carnations. Ahead, throngs of well-dressed relatives clustered under a maroon canopy. Black suits and dresses formed a solemn mosaic. Maya's heart hammered as she straightened her jacket, smoothing the creases she had chosen to leave in the taxi. Her once bouffant hair was now cropped close, silver-streaked at the temples. She could almost hear their thoughts, pathetic. "Look at her." She took a step forward, jaw tight, as the sun briefly pierced the cloud cover, spotlighting the procession. A slender woman in her 50s, Aunt Lorraine, spotted her first. Her mouth tightened. She whispered to Martha, the family matriarch, who gave Maya a curt nod but no smile. Behind them, Erin, her cousin and self-appointed gatekeeper, folded her arms and raised a single, accusatory brow. Maya's throat constricted. She wanted to turn and run back to the taxi, but the casket bearing her father lay still beyond them, waiting for her alone. She crossed the distance, each step heavy. As she reached the front row, the hush deepened, as if the crowd was holding its breath. Erin's voice cut through the silence. "Well, look who finally decided to show up," she spat, loud enough for half the guests to hear. Maya's cheeks burned, but she forced herself not to flinch. Today wasn't about their opinions, it was about her father. She sank onto the folding chair beside Mrs. June, her grandmother, whose lined face was as still as marble, eyes hidden behind tinted glasses. Maya slid a slender hand into Grandma's and felt the faint tremor of her fingers. It was the first warmth she'd felt since she'd crossed that threshold. As the minister began the eulogy, Maya let the words wash over her, talk of kindness, resilience, and a man who had quietly shaped every child in this family. When he spoke of the secret he kept, Maya's breath caught. She glanced at Mr. Holloway, the lawyer, standing off to one side, adjusting his cufflinks. His expression was unreadable, but Maya sensed an unspoken promise: this funeral would not end like most. At the first hymn, Maya closed her eyes and let tears fall. Each drop cleansed a little of the shame she had carried. By the time the coffin descended, something inside her had hardened. She would stand here, she resolved, and claim whatever truth her father had left behind. After the service, a stiff breeze drifted across the freshly turned earth as mourners drifted toward rented limousines and idling cars. Plates of finger sandwiches and scones lined white-draped tables under a secondary tent. Maya lingered near the refreshments, heart-pounding, until she felt a presence behind her. "Well, isn't this touching?" Erin said, her tone syrupy. Maya Baxter, back from the great unknown. "I was beginning to think you'd never show." Maya turned slowly. Erin's designer coat hung open to reveal heels that clicked menacingly on the stone pavers. "I promised Dad I would be here," Maya replied calmly, her voice firmer than she felt. "I wouldn't miss it." Erin snorted. "Promise? Please. You broke every promise you ever made." She gestured at the table. "Would you like a cucumber sandwich? White bread, just like you used to like, before you moved to that big city and forgot us all." The barista behind the counter stared awkwardly. Maya forced a small, polite smile. "No, thank you." Erin leaned closer, voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "You could have called. We've all moved on. Even Grandma June questions whether you're really family." A hot flare of anger rose in Maya's chest, but she swallowed it. Grandma June has her reasons, she said quietly. Aaron's smirk faltered as Maya turned and walked away, leaving her cousin sputtering. At the edge of the tent, Maya encountered Aunt Lorraine. The older woman's posture was stiff, arms crossed. You know, your father talked about you every day, she said, tone neutral. He was so proud when you left to find yourself. Now, he's gone, and you show up, carrying nothing but regrets. Why? Maya paused. I came back because he was my father, she said. No matter what you think, I loved him. And I want to make things right. Lorraine's face softened for a moment, then hardened again. Words, Maya. We've all heard enough. As Maya moved deeper into the crowd, whispers trailed behind her like cold drafts. She realized then that this town had never forgiven her for leaving, and that forgiveness wouldn't come easily. But from somewhere deep inside, she summoned resolve. Let them judge, she thought. I'm here for the truth. Under the white canopy, relatives formed tight, exclusive circles. The Wilkinsons chatted about property taxes, the Carters whispered about the new highway development, the Bailey twins speculated on who'd inherit the South Wing. Maya drifted among them, a ghost among the living, offering nods and quiet condolences, but few returned the gesture. She found a small alcove beside a decorative fountain where droplets tinkled lightly. She needed to breathe. Just then, she heard Uncle Simon's hearty laugh bridging the gaps between other voices. He spotted her and beckoned with a crooked finger. Maya, come over here, he called. His booming voice turned heads. You look thinner. City life not agreeing with you, niece? Maya forced a smile and joined him. Simon patted her shoulder. Your father talked about you all the time. Always said you'd come back someday, crown on your head. He winked, the gesture felt like salt in a wound. Thank you for saying that, Maya said gently. I appreciate it. Simon's grin widened. Just make sure you stick around. Could use your help settling things. Lots to do. Before Maya could reply, Simon turned his back, rejoining a cluster of men in dark suits. Maya watched him go, frustration simmering. She was nothing more than a tool to them, useful until she wasn't. Across the tent, she caught Drew's gaze, her cousin known for both petty cruelty and sudden mood swings. He raised his glass in a mocking salute before resuming a conversation with Aaron. Maya moved toward a small table holding photo albums. She opened one, revealing snapshots of a younger her laughing with her father. She traced the edge of her smiling face with a fingertip. These memories were her only shield against their scorn. As she closed the album, she heard the low rumble of a familiar voice, Grandma June. Your father was so proud when he sent you off to college, June said, joining her. He blamed himself for every argument you two ever had. Maya exhaled. I blamed him, too. I'm sorry I ran. June placed a cool hand over hers. He knew you'd find your way back. He left you something important. Something only you could claim. Maya's heart fluttered. What do you mean? Before June could answer, Mr. Holloway approached, briefcase in hand. Family, she whispered, they're almost ready. Maya nodded, steeling herself. Whatever lay ahead, she would face it head on. A hush fell as Mr. Holloway clicked open his polished briefcase. He was a tall man in his 60s, silver hair parted with military precision, and spectacles that caught the light. Maya watched him with guarded anticipation as he cleared his throat. Thank you all for attending, he began, voice measured. Your father, Mr. Frederick Baxter, entrusted me with his final wishes. Today, not only will we distribute the tangible assets, homes, businesses, heirlooms, but we will also address a special provision he requested that only Maya Baxter may enact. A ripple of surprise ran through the crowd. Aaron's mouth gaped, Uncle Simon exchanged a quick glance with Drew. Maya felt a cold thrill. This was the moment her father had promised. Mr. Holloway continued, sliding a sealed envelope across the lectern. This letter contains instructions for the Solace Trust, a fund established by Mr. Baxter a decade ago. The details are to be read by Maya alone before any public disclosure. Gasps circled the tent. Maya rose, heart pounding, and accepted the envelope. She stood at the front, the sun breaking through the clouds to cast her in a sharp beam of light. For the first time, all eyes were on her. "Please read," Mr. Holloway said gently. Maya's hand trembled as she broke the seal. Inside was a neatly typed letter, 9 paragraphs long, culminating in a proclamation. Her father had amassed a secret fund of assets and accounts under the Solace Trust, intended solely for her to uplift the family and community programs he cherished. He believed she alone had the compassion and strength to wield it wisely. A stunned silence followed. Aaron's lips parted as if to speak, but no sound emerged. Uncle Simon's face tightened. Drew's glass slipped from his hand, shattering on a stone fern pot. Maya's pulse thundered in her ears, but she forced herself to breathe, to steady her voice. "Father entrusted this to me because he knew I would fight for his legacy," Maya said, voice clear. "This trust will fund the Baxter Scholarship for underprivileged girls and the Baxter Relief Fund for our hometown's clinics." She paused. "And to my family. He wished us unity, compassion, and the chance to build something better together." Tears welled in Grandma June's eyes. Around Maya, relatives shifted, some faces crestfallen, others gleeful at the potential spoils. Maya closed the letter. "He believed in forgiveness," she added softly. "And in second chances." After the announcement, the atmosphere crackled with tension. Some relatives approached Maya with awkward congratulations, others drifted away to murmur in shadowed corners. Maya stepped toward the refreshment tent, seeking a moment to herself, but froze when she heard raised voices behind a canvas partition. "I'm telling you, Simon, we need to challenge this in court," Drew hissed, eyes blazing. He left everything to Maya, without consulting the family. Uncle Simon's voice rumbled in response. "Calm down. We'll see if that trust holds up. Holloway said it's foolproof, but you know how the law works. It's theft." Drew spat. "He manipulated Dad. We need our share. This town built itself on Baxter's sweat, he can't just hand it all to her." Maya's jaw clenched. They were scheming, even now, to strip away her birthright. She took a silent step back, heart hammering against her ribs. Then she spied Aaron slipping into the tent, her phone pressed to her ear. Drew's voice cut across Maya's sudden movement. "Aaron, let them hear you, get the news out. Cousin Maya has inherited the entire estate. The more scandal, the faster they'll jump on our side." Aaron laughed, a brittle, triumphant sound. "Already live on Facebook. Views are skyrocketing." Maya's vision blurred. She wanted to confront them, to accuse them of betrayal. But she realized the fight wasn't between her and each cousin, it was against their greed. She took a deep breath and stepped into the tent, confronting them with calm authority. "Lay off," she said, voice low but carrying. "This isn't a game. Dad trusted me. If you challenge it, you challenge his memory, and that won't end well." Simon's broad shoulders stiffened. "Easy for you to say, niece. You're not the one losing out." Maya squared her shoulders. "I'm not losing. I'm honoring him." She let the words hang, and saw uncertainty flicker across Simon's face. Drew's jaw tightened, but he said nothing more. As Maya walked away, Aaron's smirk had vanished, replaced by a flicker of doubt. Maya realized then that winning this battle wouldn't come solely from legal documents. She'd need to win hearts and minds, starting with her own family. Outside, the sun broke free of the clouds, a shaft of warmth on Maya's face. She closed her eyes. Whatever lay ahead, she knew her father's faith in her would light the way. The low hum of polite conversation shattered as Aaron climbed atop a folding chair beneath the pavilion's twinkling fairy lights. A hush rippled through the gathered mourners. Maya sensed the tension prickling at her neck like the first drops of rain before a storm. Erin cleared her throat theatrically. "Since we're all here to honor Daddy Baxter," she announced, voice loud enough for half the tent to hear, "perhaps we should remember that Maya wasn't always the perfect little angel you see today." A ripple of uneasy laughter followed. Maya's heart thudded. She gripped the handle of a paper plate so tightly that her fingertips whitened. Erin scanned the crowd, a predatory smile curving her lips. "Remember when she was 16? Erin continued. "She ran off with that no-good artist. What was his name? Leo?" She leaned close to the microphone. Rumor had it she was sneaking out of the house at midnight, ditching her classes, and flirting with scandal. Tittering rose around the tent. Maya saw Aunt Lorraine's lips twitch in disapproval and Uncle Simon shift uncomfortably in his seat. The color drained from Maya's cheeks, but she lifted her chin. She had rehearsed this moment in her mind, now she needed every ounce of composure. Taking a slow breath, she placed the plate on the nearest table and stepped forward. The crowd parted as if before a wave. "Maya?" Mr. Holloway's calm voice broke through the whispers. Erin's eyes widened, she hadn't expected an interruption. Maya found the lawyer standing at the edge of the stage, arms folded. He nodded once, imperceptibly, granting her the floor. Clearing her throat, Maya said, "My father was proud of every chapter of my life." The microphone hissed. "Yes, I made mistakes at 16. I fell in love. I followed my heart, even if it led me away." Her voice wavered, and she paused, scanning familiar faces, some nodding sympathetically, others with thinly veiled smirks. "But those years taught me resilience. They taught me compromise and compassion, lessons I carry with me today," Maya continued, speaking more to herself than the crowd. A hush settled. Erin's triumphant smirk faltered as Maya's calm conviction filled the tent with an unexpected warmth. Aunt Lorraine exhaled softly. Even some of Maya's harshest critics looked chastened. Erin stepped down from the chair, cheeks flushed. "Fine," she spat, voice cracking, "but don't pretend perfection, Maya." She stalked away, phone already in hand to record the fallout. Maya turned back to Mr. Holloway, who offered a gentle smile. "Shall we proceed?" he asked. She nodded, heart still pounding but steadied by the firm resolve of defending her truth. Together, they moved toward the lawyer's lectern, leaving behind a crowd that felt equal parts chastened and curious. Under the canopy's paper lantern glow, Grandma June sat erect in her ornate folding chair, hands folded in her lap. Filigree of age lined her dark skin, each wrinkle a testament to decades of sorrows and joys. She'd watched every slight, every whispered insult, her face a veneer of calm that concealed a tempest of memory. Maya glanced back and caught Grandma June's eye. For a moment, that stern gaze softened, and Maya felt a current of solidarity. After the service, Maya slipped away from the shifting clusters and found her grandmother leaning against the gnarled trunk of the oak tree that shaded the cemetery's far corner. "Grandma," Maya said quietly, lowering herself onto a mossy root beside her. The air was cool, scented with damp earth and fallen leaves. June turned her gaze to the distant chapel, voice low and steady. "Your father adored you, child. He saw in you something fierce, something he wished he'd shown more." She paused, finger tracing a pattern in the wood bark. "He worried that this family would never accept you the way he did." Maya swallowed. "They don't," she whispered. June's lips curved. "They will, once they see your strength." She reached into her shawl pocket and produced a small rusted key. Maya blinked in surprise. "I found this in Papa's study years ago," June explained. "He said it was for a place where he kept his dreams and sorrows. I never knew if to give it to you, until now." Maya turned the key over in her palm. It was old, heavy, and cold, with an intricate filigree on its bow. "What does it open?" June's eyes shone. "The chest in his old study at the Ironwood Manor. It contains letters, his true thoughts. Perhaps they'll help you understand him, and yourself." Maya felt tears sting her eyes. Why didn't he tell me? Some trust must be earned, June said softly. But he believed you were ready. She patted Maya's hand. You're stronger than you know. Remember that. Maya stood, pressing the key into her jacket pocket. A renewed sense of purpose settled in her chest. Thank you, Grandma. June watched her go, stoic until tears slipped down her cheeks. Then she squared her shoulders, ready to stand as the silent witness for her granddaughter's destiny. Back under the main tent, Mr. Holloway excused himself from the gathering. As Maya rejoined the group, he slipped away toward his briefcase, still stationed near the lectern. Nearby, Drew and Aaron huddled, phones out, comparing clips. Simon's deep voice rumbled in quiet consultation with Aunt Lorraine. Maya's gaze lingered on the briefcase. She recalled Mr. Holloway's mention of a handwritten letter found at the bottom of the will packet. Something about that phrasing gnawed at her. She approached the lawyer as he unzipped a side pocket. Mr. Holloway, Maya said softly. May I see that letter? He paused, glancing around. Excuse me, he murmured, closing the zipper and stepping away. Maya followed at a discreet distance. In the adjacent mausoleum aisle, tabooed from guests, Mr. Holloway's assistant, a young paralegal named Ruth, waited anxiously. He handed her the briefcase. It's missing, Ruth hissed, brows drawn. The sealed envelope, the one with the handwriting, should have been here. Mr. Holloway's expression flickered to alarm. He checked every compartment. It's not here, he muttered. Did you? Ruth swallowed. I didn't touch anything but the legal files. Her voice trembled. Maya watched from the shadows, heart in her throat. Had someone stolen the letter deliberately? Aaron? Drew? The thought made her skin prickle. She stepped forward. Mr. Holloway? Her voice echoed in the marble corridor. The pair startled. He turned, relief flooding his features. Maya, what are you? He saw the key on her lapel. Did Grandma June give you that? Maya nodded. She said the chest has letters. But you said the handwritten letter was part of the will. She paused. I want to make sure nothing is lost. Ruth opened her hands. I may have placed the sealed envelope in the main compartment with the trust documents. It looked more secure. She unclipped a metal clasp inside the briefcase, revealing a thick stack of papers bound in navy ribbon. At the very bottom lay the cream-colored envelope, its edges slightly bent. Mr. Holloway exhaled, then zipped the briefcase shut. He handed Maya the envelope. You're right to worry. Family drama, it's a minefield. He offered a wry smile. Read this before we proceed. Maya accepted the envelope, tucking it securely into her dress pocket. Thank you, she whispered. As she walked back, Maya sensed the others watching, suspicion and curiosity swirling in their eyes. But she held her head high. Whatever secrets lay in that letter, she would uncover them truthfully, without interference. Maya returned to the tent, where the aftermath of the missing letter drama had ignited fresh gossip. Aaron's phone was out again, live streaming snippets. The will reveal is delayed because they misplaced the envelope. How convenient. She sniped at the camera, preening for online viewers. Drew stood nearby, clutching a half-empty glass of champagne. He raised it in Maya's direction. Here's to the underdog, he said with mock solemnity. May she at least get the pity coin Dad promised. Laughter bubbled around him. Maya felt the heat of humiliation flare beneath her skin. For a heartbeat, the desire to lash out was overwhelming. Then she remembered Grandma June's words, strength comes from within. She moved calmly toward the refreshment table, gathering herself. A few guests glanced away, uncomfortable. Simon frowned at Drew, but said nothing. Aunt Lorraine gave Maya a sympathetic nod as she passed. Maya turned back to the center. Erin strutted forward, as though daring Maya to react. "Well, Maya," she called, voice shrill, "it seems this funeral has more drama than a soap opera. Are you ready for Act 2? Maya took a deep breath, stepping onto the small platform where Erin had previously stood. Erin's smile flickered uncertainly. The crowd stilled, sensing confrontation. "Funny," Maya began, voice steady. "I always thought funerals were for reflection, for honoring those we've lost. Not for petty cruelty." She let the words hang. Erin's jaw tightened. Drew's smirk wavered. Silence rippled. Maya continued, softer now. "My father taught me that compassion matters more than coins. You may joke about my inheritance, but none of you can take away my father's love, or the legacy he entrusted to me." She reached into her pocket and held up the sealed letter. "This has been misplaced once. I won't let it be misused. I will read it when the time is right, and in private." A murmur ran through the crowd. Even Erin looked chastened, her bravado fading. Maya stepped down, posture poised. She felt a swell of quiet triumph. The taunts had escalated, yes, but she had risen above them, and the power had shifted subtly in her favor. An hour later, as the sun dipped low and the sky blushed with dusk, Mr. Holloway called everyone to attention. The tent lights glowed softly, casting long shadows. The lawyer cleared his throat, placing the remaining sealed envelopes on a small mahogany podium. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, voice resonant, "thank you for your patience. We will now proceed with the distribution of tangible assets, the family residences, the Baxter business shares, and treasured heirlooms. Afterward, we will address the special provision intended for Maya Baxter." Erin rolled her eyes, drawing silent glares. Simon folded his arms, gaze flickering between the envelopes and Maya. Drew leaned conspiratorially toward a cousin, whispering something that made her snort into her napkin. Maya stood at the front with Grandma June by her side. The crowd formed a semicircle, tension taut as a drawn bow. Mr. Holloway opened the first envelope. "The Baxter Manor on Elm Street, bequeathed to Uncle Simon Baxter." Polite applause followed. Simon nodded, expression unreadable. The next envelope contained the lakeside cottage, passing to Aunt Lorraine. One by one, properties and business shares were allocated, each announcement punctuated by measured claps and suppressed sighs. Finally, Mr. Holloway lifted the last envelope before the special provision. His gaze swept the audience. Lastly, the silver tea set that belonged to Mrs. Baxter Sr., to be held in perpetual trust by Grandma June. The elderly woman gave a small, dignified smile and accepted it with grace. A pregnant pause stretched. Erin shifted, Drew inhaled sharply. Mr. Holloway stepped back from the podium. "At this point, we will take a short recess before the final reading." He gestured to a side table. "Please enjoy refreshments. We will reconvene in 20 minutes to conclude with the special provision." Maya felt a surge of anticipation. She had already read the handwritten letter. She knew what was coming, her father's final act of faith. But she also knew the room would be electric with expectation, fear, and perhaps resentment. As guests drifted toward the tables, Maya caught Eric's eye, an old friend from childhood, now a small-town reporter. He slipped her a folded piece of paper. She opened it, a single sentence scrawled in her father's handwriting, "My dearest Maya, remember your promise." Maya tucked the note into her pocket, heart pounding with purpose. Tonight, everything would change. Dusk had settled like velvet over the cemetery grounds when Mr. Holloway stepped forward once more, the last envelope, distinctly heavier, clutched in his hand. Lanterns strung along the tent's perimeter flickered as a cool breeze rustled through the canopy. Maya stood beside Grandma June, every eye trained on her as anticipation crackled through the gathering. "By my reading," Mr. Holloway began, voice calm but resonant, "this final document is not merely an inheritance, it is a directive." He broke the seal with deliberate care, extracting a parchment bordered in gold filigree. Gasps fluttered through the crowd. Maya's breath caught, this was the moment her father had promised. He cleared his throat. To my dearest Maya, I bequeath full authority over the Solace Trust, a fund established in secret to preserve and uplift this family and our community. Its assets include the Baxter Manor, shares in Baxter Industries, and diversified holdings valued at over $10 million. You are entrusted to allocate these resources toward two enduring legacies, the Baxter Scholarship for Young Women of Promise, and the Baxter Relief Fund to support local clinics. Mr. Holloway paused, allowing the weight of each word to settle. Maya felt tears prick her eyes, tears of triumph mingled with the weight of responsibility. She glanced at her father's elegant script, "With this trust, you hold both my memory and my faith." She inhaled, steadying her voice. "I accept," she said, stepping into the lantern light. "I accept this responsibility on behalf of my father, this family, and the town he loved." A hush followed, then hesitant applause rippled outward. Aaron's face blanched, Drew's glass slipped from his fingers, Simon's brows knit in disbelief. Even the distant hills seemed to lean closer, as if eavesdropping. Maya folded the parchment and tucked it safely into her jacket. Mr. Holloway carefully returned the envelope to his briefcase. "This trust is effective immediately," he stated. "All directives within its charter shall be carried out under Maya Baxter's oversight." He gestured to a cluster of lawyers and accountants who emerged from the tent's shadow, ready to formalize the transfer. As figures moved to prepare the financial instruments, Maya realized the scope of her inheritance was far greater than any property or heirloom. It was her father's final gift, a vessel of his hopes and dreams. Across the clearing, cousins exchanged anxious glances. Some lowered their heads, others clenched their jaws. Grandma June squeezed Maya's hand, pride shining in her eyes. Maya knew the battle had only just begun, but now, armed with the power her father believed she deserved, she was ready to lead with compassion, integrity, and the fierce determination that had guided her home. Noonday sun had given way to creeping twilight when a single voice pierced the fragile calm. Aaron, cheeks flushed and phone in hand, raised it high like a trophy. "This is an outrage," she shouted, broadcasting live. "Maya Baxter inherits everything, while the rest of us get crumbs." Her words echoed through the tent. Shock froze the crowd. Simon's face tightened, color draining. Drew's lips curled into a sneer lacking its usual bravado. A ripple of murmurs swept the assembled relatives. Unfair, manipulated, father was deceived. Maya felt the first sting of hostility, not just disappointment, but outright fury directed at her. Uncle Simon stepped forward, voice booming. "My brother wouldn't have wanted this," he declared. "This trust, this entire structure, was his idea, but he'd never have intended to cut out the rest of us." He shook a fist at the accountants. "Give me those documents. I'll have this reversed in court." Drew joined him, gesturing wildly. "It's robbery. We deserve our share of Baxter Industries, the bakery, the ranch, the antique collection, everything." "Maya, this is theft." Maya's chest tightened. Her father's generosity had ignited anger in hearts unprepared for fairness. She raised a hand, voice steady though fierce. "Simon, Drew, please," she implored. "My father set this up himself. He trusted me because he believed I'd honor his vision of equity and community. I'm not here to silence you, I'm here to invite you." Aaron scoffed. "Invite us? To what? A charity ball? We want our inheritance." Maya took a breath, looking each cousin in the eye. "Your inheritance is intact, homes, heirlooms, business shares. This trust is separate, dedicated to causes dear to my father's heart. He intended it to stand apart." Anger flickered to confusion on Simon's face. He glanced at the legal team, who hovered anxiously. "Separate? But why us?" "Because," Maya continued softly, "he believed our family needed healing, and that we could heal this town together. The trust isn't about taking from you, it's about giving for the greater good." She swept her gaze over the crowd. "If you challenge it, you challenge his memory, and nothing would grieve me more." A hush fell. Aaron's phone lowered slowly. Drew's sneer dissolved. Simon exhaled, shoulders sagging. One by one, relatives exchanged uncertain looks. The fierce indignation that had charged the air dissipated into uneasy silence. Mr. Holloway cleared his throat. Maya Baxter's acceptance of the Solace Trust will not affect your individual bequests. Any legal challenges would face significant obstacles under irrevocable trust law. The reminder of legal certainty further quelled the uproar. Erin folded her arms, jaw clenched, but no more words came. Slowly, the cousins drifted away, grappling with a reality they'd never imagined, that their resentment stemmed not from loss, but from unexpected generosity. Maya watched them go, heart-pounding. The explosive reactions had been fierce, but they had also exposed the depth of suspicion within her family. She knew the path ahead would demand not only empathy but clear, unwavering leadership to transform anger into unity. Late that evening, the lawyers prepared to leave when Mr. Holloway motioned Maya aside. In his hand was a small tablet, its screen glowing with a thumbnail labeled Baxter Home Archive. Maya's heart raced. She recognized that title from her father's study. Your father recorded footage, Holloway explained quietly. Not for public consumption, but as a journal of sorts. He asked me to share these tapes if anyone questioned your character. He tapped the screen. Would you like to view them now? Maya nodded. They slipped into a side room, an old storage alcove reclaimed for legal meetings. There, dim overhead bulbs flickered. Holloway opened the tablet, and a video began, her father's study, its warm oak shelves behind him. He spoke directly to the camera. June, if you're watching this, it's because Maya has faced more than she deserved. She cared for me during my worst days, she was the only one who stayed. His voice cracked. She changed my sheets when no one else would. She cooked my favorite soup when my appetite left me. I want the world to know her strength and selflessness. The next clip flickered, Maya at her father's bedside, smoothing a pillow. Her dark curls framed her face as she whispered comfort. Then another, Maya reading to him from a battered novel, laughter soft between them. Each moment underscored her devotion. Maya's eyes stung, chills ran down her spine. She pressed next. A montage of voice messages followed, grateful letters from townsfolk to her father, thanking him for the scholarship program he'd quietly funded through Maya's efforts years ago. Tears blurred Maya's vision. She turned to Mr. Holloway. He did record this for me. Holloway offered a gentle nod. He knew others might question why he chose you. This is proof. Maya took a deep breath. I'll share it tomorrow, publicly. She squared her shoulders. They need to see the truth. Back in the main tent, cousins had gathered around a bonfire, huddled in small groups. Maya joined them, projecting calm authority. Family, she began softly, raising the tablet so everyone could see. My father wanted you to see this. Aaron stepped forward, phone forgotten. Simon and Drew closed in. Maya tapped the screen, the first scene played. The flickering firelight danced across their faces as they watched, silent. Empathy softened their features. When the final clip ended, only the crackle of embers filled the hush. Drew swallowed. I had no idea, he whispered. Simon's face, too, betrayed regret. Aaron's voice trembled. I'm sorry, Maya. I didn't realize. Maya nodded, voice calm. I know now you understand why Dad trusted me. Let this truth guide us forward. Under the night sky, the power of undeniable evidence forged the first bonds of reconciliation, proof not only of Maya's character, but of her father's unwavering love. Dawn broke clear and bright over Baxter Manor as Maya convened a meeting in the restored library. Heavy drapes had been drawn back to reveal oak panels etched with generations of family history. Mr. Holloway, the legal team, and Maya's closest relatives filled the semicircle of high-backed chairs. Maya stood before a long mahogany table, the trust documents and video tablet placed before her. "Thank you all for coming," she said, voice steady. "Last night's footage showed Dad's intentions. Now, let's address any lingering doubts, legally." Mr. Holloway rose and opened a large binder. The Solace Trust, as drafted, is irrevocable under state trust law. Its charter explicitly names Maya Baxter as sole trustee, with a prohibition against court modification except under extraordinary circumstances, a standard extremely difficult to meet. He tapped a highlighted clause. This means any challenge would require proof of fraud or incapacity at the time of creation. We have neither. He turned to Simon. "Uncle Simon, you asked if this trust could be overturned. Under current statutes, doing so would necessitate demonstrating conclusively that Mr. Baxter lacked capacity or was unduly influenced, neither of which your counsel has evidence for." Simon cleared his throat. "I see." His tone lacked conviction, but there was no rebuttal. Mr. Holloway then addressed Drew. "Furthermore, the assets have been placed in an offshore account under fiduciary oversight, unreachable by domestic liens or judgments." He pointed to a flowchart of the fund's structure. "Every penny is accounted for, held by independent trustees until released at Maya's direction." A murmur rippled through the room. Erin clasped her hands, eyes wide. "So, there's nothing we can do?" Holloway shook his head gently. "I'm sorry. The trust functions as your father intended, secure, segregated, and protected. The individual inheritances you hold are unaffected, but the Solace Trust cannot be accessed by anyone else." Maya watched her family process the news. Some heads bowed in reluctant acceptance, others stared at the floor, silence hanging heavy. She stepped forward. "My father set clear instructions because he believed unity and service are the true legacies of our name. I intend to honor that." Grandma June rose from her chair, voice soft but strong. "My boy was a wise man. When he trusted you, Maya, he did so knowing you would carry this forward." Simon exhaled, shoulders slumping. Drew placed a hand on his chest. Erin dabbed at her eyes. The legal backup had shattered the last illusions of contest. Maya felt a sense of solemn victory settle on her shoulders. By mid-morning, word had spread through town, Maya Baxter had assumed control of the Solace Trust. Local reporters gathered at the manor gates, cameras rolling. The same cousins who'd mocked her days before now faced a wave of public scrutiny. Maya organized a press conference in the courtyard. Lavender blooms, planted in honor of her father's favorite color, lined the edges. Maya stood at a simple podium, the morning sun illuminating her determined face. Behind her, banners announced, "The Solace Trust, in memory of Frederick Baxter." With a deep breath, Maya began, "Thank you all for coming. Yesterday, I unveiled my father's final gift, the Solace Trust, dedicated to empowering young women and supporting our community's health needs." She clicked a remote, and the video footage from the tablet played on a screen behind her. Reporters murmured, and flashbulbs popped. "As you've seen," Maya continued, "this trust is irrevocable. It is not mine alone, it belongs to every soul in this town who believes in education and compassion." She paused, scanning the crowd. "I want to address the criticisms, the attempts to undermine my father's last wish. I hereby release all legal findings confirming the trust's validity and the video evidence of my service to my father." She motioned to her cousin Erin, who had been giving interviews. Erin suddenly found reporters less eager, indignation had turned to sympathy for Maya. Simon, scheduled to speak, was mired in questions about his earlier threats to challenge the will. Drew's phone interview trailed off as the station cut back to the crowds at the Scholarship Funds building, where students held banners of support. Maya stepped forward again. "To my family, I forgive your doubts. I invite you to join me in administering this trust. Let's transform a moment of division into decades of unity." A hush followed, then applause, tentative at first, then growing in warmth. Grandma June, standing at Maya's side, nodded approvingly. One by one, the cousins approached Maya, Erin first, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Simon and Drew followed, heads bowed. Maya offered each a hand, embracing them in turn. The crowd erupted in cheers. Reporters captured every moment, the forgiveness, the unity, the sense that a family and a town had found new purpose. As cameras clicked, Maya felt a surge of hope. The very humiliation meant to break her had paved the way for reconciliation and renewal. By sunset, the Solace Trust was the talk of the region, for its mission, its drama, and its promise. Maya stood on the manor's front steps, watching the lavender petals flutter in the twilight breeze. She had honored her father's legacy, turned mockery into admiration, and emerged not just as an heir, but as a leader destined to uplift generations to come. 2 weeks after the press conference, Maya convened her first official Solace Trust Council in the grand drawing room of Baxter Manor. Long oak tables gleamed beneath crystal chandeliers as community leaders, educators, and healthcare directors took their seats. Maya stood at the head, dressed in a tailored navy suit, the late afternoon sun casting a golden glow on her determined expression. "Thank you all for coming," she began, voice ringing with clarity. "My father entrusted me with this trust to uplift our town. Today we decide how to allocate the first tranche of funds." She clicked a remote and a projected spreadsheet appeared, listing proposals, scholarships for 10 girls, mobile clinic upgrades, and a downtown youth center renovation. Education Director Ms. Okoye raised her hand. "Maya, these scholarships will transform lives. How do you envision selecting candidates?" Maya met her gaze steadily. "A committee of teachers and alumni, with an emphasis on need and leadership potential. I want these young women to become ambassadors for change." A hush of respect followed. Then Drew's hesitant voice broke through. I would like to propose a microloan program for small local businesses, shops that are struggling." Maya smiled, nodding. "Excellent idea, Drew. We'll pilot a $50,000 fund and track its impact." Even Simon leaned forward, interests aligned. As discussions flowed, Maya realized the true shift. Power had moved from whispers and grudges to vision and collaboration. By night's end, every proposal had a champion, and the first grants were approved. Outside, the manor's facade glowed under lanterns, a symbol of new beginnings. Maya exhaled, heart alight with purpose, her father's legacy finally in motion. A week later, Maya received an unexpected visit in her home office. Aunt Lorraine and Erin, faces anxious, sat across from her mahogany desk. Erin clutched a thin folder. "Maya," she began, voice trembling, "we know you promised impartiality, but the family properties you oversee, like the Baxter Ranch, could use professional management. We'd like to negotiate a partnership. You grant us partial oversight, and we'll return a share of the profits to the trust." Maya leaned back, steepling her fingers. "You want equity in what's technically your inheritance, repurposing it into the trust?" Erin nodded fiercely. Lorraine added, "We aren't asking for more money, just a seat at the table." Silence stretched. Maya's gaze softened. "I appreciate your initiative," she said slowly. "But the Solace Trust isn't structured for profit sharing. Its charter forbids personal gain. However, I'm open to hiring family members as paid consultants if you bring measurable value." She slid a draft proposal across the desk, Erin's marketing expertise, Lorraine's real estate acumen. Their shoulders slumped as they read. Erin looked up, voice small, "So, you won't give equity, but we could work for you?" Maya nodded. "Yes, and earn compensation from the trust's administrative budget." A flicker of relief crossed their faces. The bitter deal transformed into an invitation. They would earn respect by contributing, not by demanding. As they left, Maya felt both sorrow for their initial greed and hope for their eventual buy-in. Power had shifted again, not by force, but through integrity. That weekend, a small gathering was held at Grandma June's cozy cottage to celebrate the first round of Solace Trust grants. Lavender sachets scented the living room as neighbors, family, and beneficiaries chatted over sweet hibiscus tea. Maya sat between Grandma June and Ms. Okoye, listening to success stories already unfolding. Aaron approached, cheeks flushed. Maya, I wanted to thank you for trusting us with the consultant roles. I've drafted a social media plan for the scholarship announcements. She handed Maya a neatly bound document. I know we stumbled at the start, but I'd like to make this right. Maya accepted it, warmth in her eyes. Thank you, Aaron. I look forward to your ideas. Across the room, Simon approached, sliding an envelope onto the coffee table. I've identified a sustainable fertilizer supplier for the ranch. I'd like to take it on. Maya smiled. Perfect. I'll schedule a site visit next week. Your expertise will be invaluable. Simon exhaled, relief softening his features. No one else asked for personal favors. Even Drew, standing by the window, nodded in quiet solidarity. Maya raised her cup. To family, she toasted, voice clear. And to the future we build together. Grandma June joined in, her eyes misty. The room brimmed with cautious optimism, proof that dignified acceptance of reconciliation could heal old wounds. For months later, Maya stood on the rooftop of the newly renovated youth center, watching as children painted bright murals on its brick walls. The Baxter Scholarship recipients mingled below, sharing stories of academic triumph. The mobile clinic vans, painted in lavender and gold, lined the street, ready for their first outreach. Reporters buzzed with excitement, the town had been transformed. Simon approached, handing Maya a blueprint. We've expanded the agricultural program on the ranch. Yields are up 20%. He beamed. Aaron arrived with coffee in hand, and our online campaign drove record scholarship applications, 3 times last year's total. Maya laughed, gratitude and pride swelling in her chest. A horn honked below. Maya peered over the railing. Drew's new microloan recipients were opening a bakery ribbon ceremony. Oven-fresh loaves steamed in the early afternoon sun. Drew waved sheepishly, Maya waved back, heart full. Amid applause from onlookers, Maya addressed the rooftop gathering. This is what my father envisioned, a community united by purpose. She gestured to each project below. Education, health, industry, family, all thriving because we chose collaboration over conflict. A round of cheers followed. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, Maya realized the true power of the Solace Trust, not the millions in the bank, but the lives transformed, the relationships mended, and the promise that her father's dream had awakened. The rise was not hers alone, it belonged to everyone who dared to believe in something greater. 1 year after the funeral, Baxter Manor's grand front lawn hosted a gala under lantern-lit oaks. Guests in elegant attire mingled beside booths showcasing scholarship alumni, clinic volunteers, and local artisans. At the center stood Maya, now widely hailed as a visionary leader, her confidence radiating in every smile and greeting. Grandma June approached, leaning on her silver cane, eyes shining bright. "You've done it, child," she whispered. Maya embraced her grandmother. "We've done it," she corrected, kissing her cheek. As twilight deepened, Maya took the stage. "Tonight," she began, voice rich with emotion, "we celebrate not only my father's legacy but the legacy we've forged together. The Solace Trust lives on in every healed patient, every graduate, every seed planted." She paused, gazing at the crowd, family, friends, and neighbors united. She revealed a bronze plaque unveiled on the restored manor facade, in honor of Frederick Baxter, son, father, friend, visionary. Applause thundered. Maya's cousins joined her on stage, Aaron beside her, Simon and Drew flanking them, each wearing ribbons in the Trust's colors. Together, they cut the ribbon, opening the final wing of the restored estate as a community museum and learning center. As fireworks bloomed overhead, Maya stepped back, closing her eyes. The laughter, the music, the shared joy, it was everything her father had hoped for. She opened her eyes to the glowing faces around her and smiled. The family curse had been broken, not by revenge or resentment, but by compassion, integrity, and unwavering faith. Her legacy fulfilled, Maya knew this was only the beginning, a new chapter for her family, her town, and every life touched by the Solace Trust. And as the night sky shimmered above Baxter Manor, she felt her father's presence, and his pride, surrounding her, a silent benediction on a future brighter than any of them could have imagined. The end.